The title of the story is The Story. There were 5 students that volunteered to join the AIT summer program. Their names were Sky, Sebastian, Jalen, Richard, and Nathan. The 5 of them were put into the same class for the duration of the program. And every week the class was divided into smaller groups, and for the second week they were told to line up in order from smallest to tallest. They were the 5 tallest, so they ended up in the same group. Many of them were annoyed at the new group because they made good friends with the last group. The previous week, they were put in groups by their birthday and were given an assignment to make a movie about their cultural artifact that they were told to bring in. This second week, their task was to create a story. So now these 5 teenagers have nearly impossible tasks of writing a story. The 5 people in the group were not alone. The group had a couple of teachers to help them along the way. They were a big help by giving the group an idea to write about their hardships, even after denying the group of many perfectly good topics to write about, such as Justin Bieber getting assassinated by a ninja sent from Mars. That was their biggest role. Aside from telling the group what an elixir is supposed to be in writing, the group was now getting ready to begin the story.
The teachers told the group that they could begin their story. This was what marked the beginning of the plot. No one in the group was prepared for this moment. It was so unexpected. One moment, the group was brainstorming ideas for the story, and the next moment, they were told to write a story. So they nervously talked about how stupid the idea was. They had no idea how right they were. That must have been the stupidest idea ever. At this point, the group no longer had things to write about on the topic of helpers or crossing the threshold that led into the story writing. They began to take mindless things that were nothing less than left to explain. The teacher had helped the group with their ideas and grammar, while when asked to write a story, they crossed it.
The group had to think of a story, but the ideas were not very kid-friendly. The stories they came up with were mostly about super bananas being grown on Mars and things to do with ninjas. The ideas were not very practical and didn't make much sense. Also, since the boys despised Justin Bieber, they wanted the story to somehow involve him being killed. Jalen wanted to do something magical, like fairies, for instance. But of course the boys didn't want anything to do with it. Since Jalen didn't like any of the ideas the boys had, the group couldn't really come up with anything. Later, Jalen didn't care anymore what they were going to come up with. And Sky was really annoying, said Jalen. Miss Diaz tried to help them create some story ideas. Later, they still couldn't come up with an idea. They had 15 minutes of...
We're never going to finish.
To think of a story. With 5 minutes left, Miss Yates' group really had to think of an idea and fast. Wait, I have an idea, Sky said. Let's write about 5 kids who were assigned to write a story and kept thinking of crazy ideas like super bananas, ninjas, and killing Justin Bieber. But finally, they thought of a story of 5 kids who were assigned to write a story and kept thinking of crazy ideas like super bananas, ninjas, and killing Justin Bieber.
Okay, we get it, Sebastian said. So they decided on who gets what section in the story. It took a while, but they all finished their parts and put them all together. Over the next few days, they worked hard on the story. They didn't like it, but at this point, no one cared. Many photos had to be selected to serve as a picture for the story. The day was rapidly approaching, and they were still working hard. Just in time, the students finished. The day finally arrived where the story had to be presented, and it began with the following line. There were 5 students who volunteered at the AITE summer program.